In this video, I'm going to show you a step-by-step process for going from hobby trader to professional trader. And also, I'm going to show you the exact rules of my core trend following system and how I manage my day-to-day workflow as a professional trader, how I keep my records, how I organize my day, what markets I follow, and basically putting all the pieces together from being someone who knows technical analysis into a professional trader. So what does being a professional trader mean? It means a bunch of different things. First of all, you have to be trading with a system. If you don't have a system, then what's going to happen is you're going to have huge discrepancies between when you're trading well and when you're trading badly, and your results are going to be highly dependent on your emotional mood. All of the successful professional traders that I know, they have a system or a method. So you need a system. Secondly, that system has to be an edge. If your system is not an objective edge in the markets, you're just completely wasting your time. You need to be able to trade that system without making any mistakes. Mistakes are extremely costly for trading, and you barely even notice them. So what we have to do is keep careful records of our mistakes and work very hard to minimize our mistakes. So you need to be having a system. Your system needs to be an edge. You need to be trading that system very well. You need to be keeping proper records. All of the professional traders I know keep proper records. And in fact, if I want to know if someone's a good trader or not, the first thing I ask is can I see your records? Are your trade spreadsheets or your trade logs up to date? And I know straight away if your trade logs aren't completely up to date, then really you're not taking this thing seriously. And this is a difficult game to win at. You need to take it seriously if you're going to win. So let's recap. So you've got a system. The system's an edge. You're trading that system well. You're keeping proper records. And what's the last thing you need to do? You need to make regular reviews. So what you need to do is every month or every quarter or sometimes every year for longer term systems, you need to stop and evaluate both your system performance and your own performance in that. And you need to see that as part of a larger business plan. So you need to treat trading just as a business like any other. You need to account for taxes. You need to have plans in the event of illness or divorce or any of those other things that can go wrong. You have to treat this thing like a real business. So I'm a fully systematic professional trader, and I've been trading full-time since 2007. Now, along the way, I started off like everyone else losing money, but since I've become a fully systematic trader and I've had amazing mentors, I've been able to compound my small accounts up into several $1 million and counting. Now, I'm not some super rich hedge fund guy. I'm a small home trader who started from nothing and has managed to turn a small account into a medium-sized account. That's all I am. So along the way, I've had these amazing mentors. I've had mentors like Linda Raschke from the Market Wizard books, Ed Sikota, who's been an enormous influence on me, also from the Market Wizard books, Van Tharp, who taught me how to build trading systems and the process that I'm going to outline today in System Building Masterclass. He's also from the Market Wizard books, and he's probably the world's foremost trading psychologist. I also learned extensively from Al Brooks, who's probably the best exponent of price action in the world, and a guy called Ivan Krastens, who invented some of the patterns that you might have read about, that I talk about in my emails. So like almost everyone, when I started to trade, I lost money. So the experience for me was that I prepared for a full year before I took my first trade. I bought thousands of dollars worth of books on Amazon. I read everything I could. I read blog posts. I did courses. I did a mentorship. I thought I was really, really well prepared to take my first trade. And when I took my first trade, I had so much invested in it emotionally that when it went wrong, I didn't exit it, and I ended up blowing up my account. And my early trading experiences were just utterly disastrous. Like, I would prepare intellectually, I would be certain that I knew that I was going to get it right this time, and then I would just lose money. And then eventually I got tired of this process, and I decided to take it all more seriously, and I went back with my original mentor, Ivan Krastens, and started trading fully systematically. Using one of the systems from the System Building Masterclass, which you'll see today, I was able to post my first triple-digit year in 2010 and start the process of me realizing that when I made up my trading decisions on the fly, I lost money, and when I traded with a system, I actually made money. So my early experiences were all, when I did what I wanted to do, I lost money, and when I traded with a system, I made money. So eventually I realized that trading with a system was an answer, but I just didn't know how to build good systems. So what I did is, I thought I was a logical, smart guy. As I started to travel, I found out who was the best system designers in the world, and I started traveling to Van Tharp seminars and became part of his super trader group, which are a group of highly skilled expert system traders. And I showed them my systems and they showed me their systems, and I learned how to build trading systems from them. And then I used the knowledge that I'd gained there to build the trading systems which I've traded successfully ever since then. What really turned it around for me was just a huge stroke of luck. You see, I joined Van Tharp's Super Trader group, and this was a group of really, really high performing guys. They were all getting between 1 and 200% a year consistently. And because I'd already traded a couple of years successfully with systems, the systems weren't that good, but I was still trading with a system and keeping proper records and doing all that professional trader stuff. They kind of adopted me as one of their own because I was doing the things that serious traders do. So they just naturally assumed that I was a serious trader, and they would share their systems with me and I would share my systems with them. And we basically collaborated. All of us shared all of our systems. And so that's why I've got such a huge library of trading system rules. But the thing they didn't realize is my systems were objectively very average systems and theirs were amazing. It was just an enormous stroke of good fortune that I was exposed to these really, really high-level people and these high-level trading systems and high-level trading rules, when really I had no right back then to be considered as part of this elite group. It was just, a stroke of good fortune. So my life has totally changed now, and it's really changed in three major ways. So the first one and the biggest thing is that deep down I always had this nagging fear that trading was going to end up in disaster, that I'd do it for 5 or even 10 years and then one day I'd just have to go and fess up to my wife and that, oh honey, I've lost all of the money and it's all gone and I can't trade anymore because it's all gone. And deep down I could never conquer that nagging fear that maybe I just didn't have what it takes, and maybe I just wasn't good enough.Maybe this is just a terrible, terrible mistake. And that fear is completely gone now that I'm trading with the system. Now, the second thing that's a major change in my life is that I don't care about market direction anymore. I don't pick sides. I don't cheer for the bulls or the bears. If my positions go up or go down, I'm like an interested observer, but I'm not really emotionally connected with that. So what I do every day is I wake up and I check the markets in the same order every day, and I look for a very specific thing. I look for my trade setup in my system rules, and if I have a setup, I take that setup every time. That's what I do. I see the setup, then I take the setup, and if there's no setups, I just take the day off. Happens sometimes. So I'm freed from that hamster wheel of trying to always guess market direction and to know what happens tomorrow, which is really impossible in the long term. Like you can guess what the stock market's going to do tomorrow and then get it wrong the next day, and it just messes with your head in the long term. System trading is so much easier because I just don't have to care. I've got a very specific job. My job is to trade my system rules, and if I'm doing that job, then in the long run I'm going to make money. I might not make money today or tomorrow, but in the long run, I'm absolutely guaranteed to make money. And what that does, it saves me from a huge amount of stress and a huge amount of fear, because I have this rock solid hand on heart certainty that in the long run, I'm going to make it. And the last area, which is personally beneficial to me, is that I have heaps more time. My actual trading rules take me 20 to 30 minutes a day to execute. On a really, really bad day, they might take me 40 minutes. So what that means is I wake up in the morning, I get my trading work done, I place my orders, and then I switch the charts off. The charts go off. The charts are not allowed to be on my screen during the day, and I go out and I do the things that I love every day. I lift weights, I go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I go out to dinner with my wife every day, I relax, I have an afternoon nap every day with my cat. My life, I've set up my life exactly the way I want, and I filled it with the people that I want in it, and I filled it with the activities that I want, and I'm trading to live. I'm not living to trade. I used to find
that I was completely and totally obsessed with learning how to trade, and I was completely obsessed with the markets and everything about them. I used to never watch television. I'd watch charts instead. And, I just don't have that desire anymore. What I have the desire for is to live my life and be my best self and live a life that I find really, really fulfilling and long-term sustainable. I'm just so grateful for that.
Most of us start with technical analysis because it's easier, and then we find a chart we like, and then we place a trade. It seems easy before you do it, but this sort of freewheeling, shoot from the hip style trading, it's the hardest type of trading there is. So the big question is, why are we trying the hardest thing before we've mastered the easier way? The 3 secrets of system trading that I'm going to share with you today is that, first of all, system trading isn't just more profitable. It's far easier. And secondly, getting better and better at technical analysis is not going to make you consistently profitable, because if you examine your own results honestly, you're going to see that as you got better and better at reading charts, your trading results didn't magically turn profitable just from that. There's more to it than just knowing technical analysis. And number 3 is that most trading psychology problems really, really disappear when you trade with a system and you simplify your life. So what I've observed is that stressful feedback loops happen when you worry about things that you can't change. So if you've ever had that situation where you're worrying about something that's out of your control, it can just really drive you crazy. And the stock market and the currency market, they're totally out of your control. So most trading psychology problems aren't really trading psychology problems at all. And most of them can be fixed with better trading procedure. And I'm going to show you better trading procedure in a moment. So personally, I trade 3 daily chart systems, and I trade a 4-hour system as well. So I have a trend following system called Thor, I have a short squeeze system called Last Kiss Goodbye, and I have a mean reversion system called Scalpiers. Now, I've set these up so they suit me, which is being about 95% mechanical and about 5% discretion. So I give myself the freedom every once in a while to skip a trade that fits my rules, but it really isn't a good trade. And that happens. So I've been trading this with my own account since 2014 successfully, and I collaborated with another trader you might know from evilspeculator.com to automate it. But after trading fully automated, it takes me less time to trade it manually, and I enjoy it more and I'm better at it. So I prefer to trade manually than fully automated. So how do I check the markets? I do things in a logical order. So the first thing I do is I check my open trades to make sure that I'm not in a trade that I shouldn't be in, and that my stops are set correctly and my targets are set correctly and everything's right there. So I make sure that I'm in every trade I should be in and not in any trades that I shouldn't be in. And if I find out that I'm in a trade that I shouldn't be in, my rule is that no matter what the reason, I just exit immediately. I don't hang on to get a better price. I don't decide whether I'm going to keep it. I just exit. So the next thing I do is I check the markets in exactly the same order every day. And I get into this nice, comfortable routine. I check the E-mini futures first. I check the Dow Jones futures after that. I check the NASDAQ. I check the crude oil. I check the natural gas. I do everything the same way every time, and it makes it boring. If there's one pro tip you should take away today, it's that instead of worrying about, whether 30 different charts are going to be up or down tomorrow, would it be easier if you had just one job? And that job is to look at every chart and answer the question, do I have a setup? Yes or no? And if you have a setup, then you trade that setup. So this kind of reminds me of this old TV show called The Sopranos, where this kid joins the mafia. This is his new boss, this mean-looking old guy, and he explains it to him that before everyone else has all these problems in their life, but you only have one problem. They're going to give you all the things that you need to make money, and all you have to do is kick up your 10% to this ugly-looking guy here. And all he has to do is kick up his 10%. So it's a better deal when you boil all your problems down to one problem. And that's the way I feel about trading too. So just for today, I choose not to judge myself on how much money I made, but on how well I traded. And what is how well I traded? How well I traded is, did I execute today mistake-free? And am I averaging less than one mistake in 20 trades? Because that's the benchmark for me. I keep exact records of mistakes that I made, and if I'm making more than one mistake in 20, alarm bells are going off. It means that there's something really going wrong with my head or my system or both. there's this interesting book called Thinking Fast and Slow, and the quote is from an old Greek philosopher. The fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. This guy, Kahneman, he studied the outcomes of expert predictions. And so the more confident the expert was about his prediction, like it's going up, it's going down, like those guys you see on CNBC, like Dennis Gartman, the more confident they are, the less accurate they are. And this is universal. And I kept a trade log of my own trades, and the ones that I thought were an absolute certainty lost every single time. So the best trades for me are the ones that are kind of a bit, ooh, I don't want to take that. Oh, but it fits my rules. Oh, I don't have enough reason to not take it, but I'm not comfortable with it, but I took it anyway. Those are the best trades. The best trades should feel a little bit uncomfortable. And why? Because you're getting in when the risk-reward ratio is favorable to you and you're not waiting too long for confirmation. By the time it looks great, you're probably at the end of the road. So there's a book called Good to Great about the difference between good and great managers and good and great leaders. What he said is that all great leaders are hedgehogs. They know how to simplify a complex world into a single unifying idea. And that's what we're doing with trading here. So what do you think is easier, trying to predict what the stock, the bonds, the futures, the FX markets do every single day from now until retirement age? Or instead of doing that really complicated thing, you can just follow a simple set of rules and try not to fuck it up. And really, that's what I'm doing. I'm following a simple set of rules and not making any mistakes. That's what I do. Losing traders, by and large, pick and choose their own trades. And most winning traders use a system. So it's really that simple. On one side, we have the losers who mostly pick and choose. And on the other side, we have the winners who mostly trade in the system. And which side are you on now? And which side do you want to be on? Now, what I'm going to show you is my day's trading right in front of you. So I did it slow so you can follow it, but it still only took a few minutes. And I recorded this on Sunday, the 16th of September. And we're going to check a few days later, and I'm going to show you how the trades did. Maybe they all lose, maybe they don't. I'm willing to bet the reality of professional trading is a lot different than what you're expecting. All right, so what I'd like to show you now is my daily workflow. So today is Sunday the 16th of September, and I'm preparing for market open on Monday the 17th. So what I have to do is every day I have to find somewhere between 5 and 30 minutes maximum to do my daily work. Except on Monday, I can do it anytime over the weekend. This is what I do on a day-to-day basis, and I'd like you to compare and contrast what I'm doing now with what you're doing. Now, I know my charts are looking kind of ugly and messed up and not lined up. This is partly NinjaTrader, and this is partly because I don't care too much, because I'm only really looking at these for a few minutes a day. I'm not screen watching, so it actually doesn't really make much difference to me. So the first thing I do is I look at the E-mini, and I can see immediately that cannot be a setup. So I just put that market out of my mind. Cannot be a setup. The Dow Jones futures cannot be a setup. The NASDAQ futures cannot be a setup. The US dollar index cannot be a setup. Crude oil cannot be a setup. Natural gas is a setup. So this is a mean reversion setup. If price breaks this blue line, we're going to go long with a stop here, looking for a mean reversion play. Okay, now, if we look at this market, it is unlikely that that actually happens before it breaks this low. But if it does, the unlikely thing is probably going to cause a bigger move. So what do I do then? I have a trade spreadsheet, and this is really important. The trade spreadsheet needs to do the heavy lifting for me. So I fill in the market is natural gas. I fill in the month. It's an October contract. A buy or a sell, the setup, the percentage, and the spreadsheet does the rest of it. I just put in the entry price and the stop loss. It calculates my position sizing, where I'm in stops to break even, profit taking points, the whole box and dice. I want that all done automatically. Now, the big takeaway from that is that the more you can automate the spreadsheets, the less things to go wrong. The definition of good trading is trading without mistakes, so the less opportunity to make mistakes that we have, the better traders we are. Okay, so I've looked at these 6 markets here, and there's only one potential setup. And I've marked it in the spreadsheet. So I'll go to my next set of markets, is the beans and the grains. So I have soybeans, cannot be a setup. Soybean meal cannot be a setup. Wheat cannot be a setup. And corn cannot be a setup. So it's as simple as that.
if it cannot be a setup, it cannot be a setup. I don't devote any more time or thought to it. Now let's look at bonds. Cannot be a setup. On the 30-year Treasury bond, the 10-year note cannot be a setup. The 5-year note cannot be a setup. The 2-year note cannot be a setup. Literally 30 seconds, we're done with those markets. I can put them out of my head for today because they're nothing to do with me anymore. Okay, I usually leave the currency markets to last because they're the most difficult. Now let's look at the metals. So here we have gold, silver, palladium, copper, and platinum. Gold, that may or may not work. I don't know. These setups work 62% of the time, by the way. Okay, silver, potential setup. If price breaks here, we will go long with a stop here. So how do I do that? I hit the middle button on my mouse to work out where the entry point and where the stop loss is. I pull out my spreadsheet because I've remembered those, and I'm going to go silver. The month is 12. Is it a buy or a sell? It's a buy. The setup is RTV, 1%. You can see the values get filled in. It's $25 a futures point. I don't need to remember that. So 14075, and the stop is 13965. And hopefully that fills it out. And you can see we're risking 22 ticks. We're risking 5.89 contracts. Round that up to 6. And the rest of it is all filled out. So instead of me getting out a calculator and calculating position size and doing all the rest of it, which leaves me an opportunity to make a mistake. If I'm pulling out a calculator and 5 9s are 45, carry the 4, and blah 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 blah. Eventually, I'm going to make a mistake. And what is professional trading? Professional trading is the complete elimination of mistakes. So the last set of markets that I follow is the currencies. It's the most difficult. Why is it the most difficult? Because of correlations. For example, we have, at first glance, the Aussie dollar and the NZD USD look very similar. I've checked, so I happen to know. I won't go into the details why, but the New Zealand dollar is a setup and the Aussie dollar is not. But in any case, you couldn't take both of those setups at once in any system because, if you're going long the New Zealand dollar and long the Australian dollar, you're just fooling yourself taking two positions. So you have to make a choice, and you need a systematic way to do that doesn't tie your head in knots, which isn't about I like New Zealand and I hate Australia or vice versa. Okay, so the Aussie dollar is not a setup. GBP USD is not a setup. USD CAD is not a setup. USD JPY is not a setup. Euro US dollar is not a setup. USD CHF is not a setup. So I'm going to trade NZD USD, but I trade it on the futures. So I'm going to fill out the rest of my trade spreadsheet. Okay, now I need to find out what the entry price is on the futures compared to there. So that is 65.98, and the stop loss is 65.03. The entry 65.98, 65.03. We're risking 95 ticks. The size is 3.41 contracts, and so the bottom line is the spreadsheet has done the heavy lifting for me. Now, this has just taken 8 minutes, and I went through it really slowly. I could have done it in half the time or less, but this is my work done. My work is done for the day. My spreadsheets are filled out. Everything's ready to go. And what that gives me is I don't need to ferociously and frantically watch the market open and figure out what's happening here and what's happening there. I don't need to Google anything. I don't need to check the financial news. I don't need to do anything. I needed to follow my rules, and I have followed my rules. My day is done. Tomorrow I'm going to have a nice breakfast. I'm going to do some training. I'm going to have an afternoon nap. I'll plan a nice lunch. I'll spend some time with my wife. I've got my day free to do the things that I want to do, and I know that my system will perform in the long run and meet my goal. So last week on the weekend, I showed you my process for placing my orders for the weekend. It's 1 week later, Saturday, 9:30 a.m. in the morning, and the markets are closed for the week. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to revisit those 3 trades. And there's a couple of really interesting things that happened that are going to
illuminate the whole process. And you can see we took natural gas, we took 6M, which is the New Zealand dollar futures, and we took silver. Now, each of these is slightly different. So the first one is the easiest one. This is from a system that's part of the System Building Masterclass, so don't worry about the entry rules, it's all in the Masterclass. We got long right here, our stop was here, going for a 1.5R target, hit the target, bam. Put in my fill, put in my exit, move on to the next trade. That one's easy winner, and you can see the winner happened in 2 days. So the next one was December New Zealand dollar futures. Now, this trade is ongoing. So I got in here, long here, on a break of the high. This is my stop. It's still the stop. I'm not moving it to break even. And this is my target. It may get there. It may not. It's in profit now. Who knows? Who knows? All right. So of the 3 trades, we've got one winner. One is still open. And let's look at the third trade, which is more interesting. So this is silver. So what happened is you can see that this was the point where I placed my order. Originally, my order to get long was placed here. But you can see, if I zoom in a bit, that on Monday the bar didn't quite get there. So that order was not filled. So I replaced the order the next day here, which was also not filled. And then I replaced the order again one more time, and then I finally did get filled. And I got entry, wiggled around a bit on Friday, slightly in profit. My target is the green line. So when that fills, I just have to keep an eye on it, whether it fills down here or up there. I'll fill in those targets, and because I've got 1.5R already from a winner that's closed out from those trades, everything's looking pretty good. Introducing the System Building Masterclass version 2.0. So what is this? It's really 3 things. It's over 12 hours of video teaching you exactly how to build, test, and implement high-expectancy trading systems. It's also every single one of my own personal production trading systems that I use every day. And it's also the massive library of professional-grade trading systems I've accumulated over the years. Like I said, the System Building Masterclass is really 3 courses. So the first course is my complete library of present and historical trading systems. Everything I've ever done. Number 2 is my library of systems used by other professional traders that I know personally, or that I've traded for, or that I've been on seminars with. Number 3 is the greatest work ever completed on the science and art of designing, prototyping, optimizing, testing, and implementing professional-grade trading systems. So let's look at my personal trading systems first. So these are all of the trading system rules which I use every day, with easy-to-follow instructions, black and white rules, complete with screenshots, examples, spreadsheet templates, everything you need to get up and running as soon as possible. And it's also every single system I've traded for the last decade. So my personal trading systems, it includes the Crazy Ivan FX system. It includes the E-mini daily chart system, which is one of my favorite systems. It includes the Protector plugin exit methodology. And what this is it's an exit methodology that you can use for very marginal edges. You can plug it into almost any average system and it turns it into something much better than average. It contains my own personal mechanical stock momentum system, which is perfect as a template for further modification or personalization. And I've got a deep dive video on how to do exactly that. And I've got 3 of my best ideas for improving this system. And I've done a comprehensive video on that new for version 2. It contains my own personal Bitcoin entry technique and my altcoin systems. Now, it's my fail breakout intraday FX system that is suitable for FX, CFD, and futures markets. I've got the new this year 4-hour pattern system that I've developed as part of the group, and it's a wonderful system. I prefer it. It's actually the system I'm enjoying trading most right now. It's a very good intraday system that seeks to hold its trades ideally for 24 to 36 hours. So after that, I have the Thor trend following daily system. This is the core system. It's the heart and soul of what I do. It's something that I do every day. Now, new for version 2.0 is my favorite daily chart system, which is the Scalpius mean reversion system. It's a very high-performing system with much lower drawdowns than the Thor system. It's very consistent. As well as that, I have my personal long-term trend-following futures system that has my retirement accounts running in it, that has the bulk of my personal wealth in. This is a long-term system that historically has compounded at about 16% compound annual growth rate. Okay, so my personal trading systems, it's not just some sort of flimsy PDF document here. We're talking about really detailed written and video instructions. We've got some spreadsheet templates to get you up and trading really quickly and reduce mistakes from the get-go. I've also added new for version 2 deep dive videos on the conceptual underpinnings behind the systems, because what I've realized is that having deep knowledge about why the setups were developed and how and why the psychology moves the market in a certain way really helps you when you're going through a bad patch in trading. It gives you the confidence when you have this deep knowledge about the system that you're trading. So I've also added numerous videos I've been collecting of me doing my daily work, executing system trades live, showing you the exact process start to finish, showing me identifying the setup, me taking the trade, me entering the order, me filling out the spreadsheet, me waiting for the fill, both winners and losers. I'm not pretending that I don't have a lot of losers. I've had thousands of losing trades. And as well as this, you've got the tips and tricks that you only get after trading a system for a long time. There's subtleties and small things that you really get as you go from just knowing the rules to actually being an expert. So new for version 2.0 is my favorite system. It's the Scalpius core system. There's two versions of it. They've got slightly different exit algorithms, and the high win rate version is a 62% win rate, expectancy 0.24. It's very consistent and very low drawdowns. And there's a version with a bit more ambitious exit algorithm, which I've actually switched to trading recently. It's got a slightly lower win rate at 50%, but its expectancy is 0.28, which is outstanding. What is it for? It's for futures, it's for FX, it's for CFDs. There is a slightly different intraday scalping version as well, which is suitable for very, very short-term traders, 1 to 3 minute charts, and it's suitable for automation, and I have in fact automated it. So it's 100% rule-based. There's no discretion in this system, unlike some of the others that I have. And technically, this is a very easy system to trade, which is one of the things I like about it. It's a simple rule set. It's really suitable for beginners. For lazy traders, we've also got a new service where I'm putting out the daily chart signals as you just get an email every day with the entry, the target and the stop loss of the trades that I'm taking, and just enter them yourself. So if you're lazy, you can try that and just get an email every day telling you what to buy and when to sell. Okay, the next system is my Thor core trend following system, and this is I'm quite proud of this. This is an innovative trend following system which uses the key concept of entry specificity, and it tweaks the win rate of traditional trend following, which is traditionally only 25 to 35% win rate, up to 50%. So its expectancy is 0.21, the win rate is 50%. It works on FX, futures, and CFDs, and it's a daily chart system only. Next, I've got my failed breakout intraday FX system, which also works on futures and CFDs. It's on the spectrum of completely rule-based to completely discretionary. It's probably got about 40% discretion in. So you have some flexibility with this system, which makes it, by definition, need more practice and more expertise and more skill to execute, but that comes with a payoff. The payoff is that the expectancy on this system is 0.5, which is outstanding. It's a very consistent win rate, 60%. Now, The drawdowns are extremely low. It's a high SQN system. It takes its entries off 5-minute charts, and this is based on a simplification of the busted breakout system, which I learned personally from Gabriel Grammatidis. I took out a lot of the extraneous stuff when I tested it. That didn't make a difference. It's much easier to execute, and it's an extremely high-performing system. The next system is my mechanical 4-hour system, which is new for version 2 of the System Building Masterclass. It's got about 30% discretion and 70% rules-based. So the way it works is you identify 3 markets that you're going to trade for the day, and and that's your discretion. Once you identify the markets that you're going to trade, you have no discretion. You trade the setups as they appear in those markets. So it's dramatically easier to trade than the failed breakout system, even though it's quite similar. And the expectancy is also 0.5. The win rate is 60%. Takes slightly less trades than the failed breakout system. That's a downside. And the upside is it requires checking the markets only 3 to 4 times per day, and for 5 or 10 minutes each time. So this is a system, an intraday system that you can trade with about 30 minutes total per day. And it's suitable for FX, futures, and CFDs. I personally trade it with futures, and I love this system. I trade it every day, and this is the perfect system for regular income generation. So moving on to my library of professional grade systems, and one point I want to make is that this isn't just a bunch of stuff copied off the internet, and the only systems in the library are systems which working professionals currently use. So this includes systems which are actually currently traded by hedge funds and institutions that have literally, I promise you, there's several $100 billion worth of real money being traded by these systems today. So the first one I want to look at is a great system. I've never personally traded it, but I know people who do, and this is a volatility breakout system for stocks. It's a 1.0 expectancy, which is twice as good as my best system. It only works in bull markets. It does not work at all in bear markets for stocks. So as soon as your bull market is over, you have to stop trading it. The SQN is 2.4, and it averages 3.8% per week. It's long only because, as you can see, it's not an edge on the short side. It's not a loss. It's just not worth trading on the short side. So it's a long only stock system that holds trades for an average of about 6 days. It's got an expectancy of 1.0 and an SQN of 2.4 and averages 3.8 R a week. It's an outstanding system for capital appreciation. It's an outstanding system by any metric, and there's the full breakdown and underpinning of how it was developed. And it was developed, like most of my systems, using the Van Tharp super trader methodology. So now I want to talk about the slot-in bear market system. It's absolutely critical to understand that eventually the bull market is going to end. Whether it happens in 1 year, in 5 years, eventually it's going to transition to something else. And if you're a stock trader, you need something else to plug in when that happens, because your long-only stock picking systems are simply going to stop working. All of them are, even the best systems. So what we've got here is this is the short system from the highest performing long-short hedge fund in Japan, and this is their systematic approach to short trading stocks. And we're using it for index ETFs. So it takes very infrequent trades. It takes about an average of 1 trade a month, and it's not trying to make 100% in a bear market. It's just trying to keep you in the game and make it about the same as you did in the bull market. It's not trying to be an amazing super system. It's only taking 1 trade a month. So this is the perfect system to accompany your long-only stock picking systems, and it's a legitimately brilliant system for bear markets. So the next thing I want to talk about is the shadows of Sakota trend following system. Now, I have a significant percentage of my own wealth in variant of this system, and I spent many years in Ed Sakota's Trading Tribe group. Ed is a market wizard and a legendary trend follower worth about $500 million, and wonderful guy. And he was deliberately obtuse about his trading rules. He would always speak in riddles and all kinds of weird stuff. So his students, we tried to reverse engineer his trading rules from little hints that he gave, and
by measuring against his actual returns. So this is as close as we got, and when we modeled it, it mirrors his returns almost exactly. It's a very simple rule set. It's surprisingly easy to execute. Works off daily charts only. It's not execution specific. So if you miss taking a trade on one day and you just have to take it the next day, that's not the end of the world. And the winning positions can be held for 6 months or more. It's an excellent long-term system that historically, over the last 40 years, has compounded at a CAGR of just over 16%. The once-a-month core rebalancing system is the system which trades the retirement accounts for all the instructors at Van Tharp International. So it's a long-only ETF system. It's very simple to execute, executes it once a month, and it's totally mechanical. So there's no discretion, there's no I like this one, I hate that one. And it's based on a very sound methodology. It's all peer-reviewed, academic paper stuff. It's an actual working system which professional traders use to run their retirement accounts in. It's a very solid choice if you don't have a lot of time to execute your systems. My favorite parts of the course are the deep dive videos, and the mean reversion cookbook is superb. So the mean reversion systems for stocks, they're the low-hanging fruit of system trading. If you had to get up and running with a system and be trading in 3 weeks, I would say don't look past mean reversion systems, because they're very easy to design, they're very easy to backtest, and they're very, very easy to execute. So even beginners can execute this. So the way it works is you have an entry technique, you have an exit algorithm, and you have a universe selection. And what I've got is a list of every known entry technique and every known exit technique that pretty much all the mean reversion traders do, and you choose one from each category and you backtest it with the retail software. So you can use TradeStation, you can use NinjaTrader, but the one that's cheap and most of the mean reversion traders use now is called AmiBroker. It does portfolio level backtesting. It's very good. It's really cheap. You don't need to be a good programmer. You don't need to code at all. Actually, it's all pseudocode. So mean reversion systems have some advantages. They typically have win rates between 65 and 75%. So what that means is it's emotionally really, really easy to trade. You know, if you're not having long strings of losers like you might with a 30% win rate system. So next I want to talk about the intraday scalping system for stocks, and this works off 3-minute charts. It's a system with quite a lot of discretion. Actually, it's probably only 30% mechanical and 70% discretion, but it has an extraordinarily high expectancy of 0.3, which for intraday systems is hitting it out of the park. And typically it takes between 10 and 30 trades per day. And the implication of taking 30 trades per day at 0.3 expectancy is it's highly, highly unlikely that you're going to end the day negative. So if you trade this system well, you're going to end up positive on 90% of days. Now, the downside of that is that systems with a bit of discretion or a lot of discretion like this, they require a lot more practice, they require a lot more accurate trading psychology, they require substantial time investment to learn correctly. Daniel traded this for quite a while, and he did very well out of it. It's a system that's going to take you 3 to 6 months of solid work to get up and running. But that being said, if you have a small account and you're looking to get pure income, this is the perfect system for you. And I personally know that hundreds and hundreds of people are actually using this today. It's a very good system. So the third part of the System Building Masterclass is really the main part. And what it is over 12 hours of videos, and that's 70 videos and counting, covering every single aspect of designing, prototyping, testing, back testing, forward testing, implementing trading systems. So we've got sections on designing entry techniques, classifying market type, rapid prototyping, back testing and forward testing, out of sample testing, designing exit algorithms, which is a very difficult aspect of system building. We talk in detail about record keeping and conducting reviews and what sort of system metrics and statistics you need to keep. We talk about testing your edges with scatter plots, some innovative methods I devised of rapid pen and paper backtesting so you can do things very quickly. We talk a lot about backtesting without programming because most people aren't programmers. And I'm not a programmer, and I need to be able to backtest efficiently without being a programmer. So we also talk about narrowing down the type of system and the market you should trade, special sections on low capital systems and systems for cryptocurrencies, which are subtly different. So it covers both pure mechanical systems, systems with some discretion or some freedom to act, and everywhere on that spectrum. We talk about systems for FX, systems for futures, ETFs, contracts for difference, stocks, and crypto. And what you're going to learn is every single aspect of building trading systems with a really step-by-step, paint-by-numbers approach that anyone can follow. So these are a couple of screenshots of the various sections. You can see we've got all kinds of sections, and each section has a number of different videos and PDFs and spreadsheets in there. My favorite part of the masterclass is these deep dive, hour-long videos on the most common trading system types. So if you're designing a trend-following system, you're going to face the same challenges that other trend followers have faced. The same with mean reversion, volatility breakout, momentum, and price pattern systems. And it makes sense to follow a fairly formulaic approach. You're going to run into the standard set of problems, and the solutions which most professionals use are going to shortcut your journey enormously. So, as well as all this, there's a heap of new stuff which I've added for version 2.0, and there's a couple of bonuses that I'm going to talk about in a moment. And these bonuses are going to help you get much faster results. This is not available anywhere else. If you want to learn this privately from me, I charge $10,000 US, and there's a waiting list. And it's drastically more detailed and involved than Van Tharp's Super Trading course, which I did, which only covers discretionary systems and doesn't cover pure mechanical systems at all. There's plenty of trading system courses available, but nearly all of them only cover one aspect of system building. For example, if you just want to design mean reversion stock systems, Cesar Alvarez has a great but kind of expensive course. And if you just want to design discretionary systems, Van Tharp's course is great, and it's $60,000. If you just want mean reversion FX systems for algo trading, my friend Ernest Chan has a fantastic course for programmers. If you just want those, maybe those things are going to suit you better. If you happen to buy and like the Price Action Masterclass, if that's something you've already bought, this course has over 10 times the amount of content. And what's more, it builds on and expands on that material. It shows you how to build high probability trading systems from the principles you already know. To learn this by trial and error, it's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to take you years and years, and that's even if you don't blow up your account along the way like I did. And what about the opportunity cost of investing in lesser quality garbage courses? Some of these courses, they just get you to pass beginner level instead of all the way to true expertise. And what about the risk of being ripped off by shady, get-rich-quick trading coaches and dead ends and blind alleys of all types? Or you could be like me, and I fell for the prediction gurus at Elliott Wave International, and these guys told me they could predict what the stock market was going to do all the way out into the future, and I paid them thousands of dollars for their newsletters and courses, and just none of it worked. So who is the System Building Masterclass for? So it's for someone looking for a set of system rules they can learn and practice trading right away, so that they can jumpstart themselves to professional level trading as quickly as possible. It's for someone who already trades with a method they've never been capable of testing. So for your own peace of mind, you ought to make sure of any system you are betting your money on. It's for someone who wants to optimize and improve an existing system that they already have. It's for someone who is designing a trading system but is stuck for ideas. When you see how other people have solved the problems you'll face, it's going to trigger some creativity. It's for someone who has an idea for a trading system but needs a step-by-step process for turning that dream into a reality. Who is this not for? It's not for traders who just want to get better and better at chart reading. The Price Action Masterclass is for that. And it's not for traders who want to predict the markets and know what happens tomorrow. That's not how winning is done. It's not for traders who want to be right all the time. And it's not for people who think you can buy the ultimate super system. Because all systems have pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses. And here's the truth. No system is going to work well unless we're in a favorable market type for that system. I hope you can see that this is not for everyone. But if it is for you, then it's going to be the best money you ever invest. I base my whole trading business around this process. I've taught other people to do it too. Now they have their own successful trading businesses. If all this did was let you make the jump from hobby trader to professional trader, would that be worth it? All this did was stop you from the inevitable disaster that happens when you try to learn to trade doing the hardest type of trading there is first. Would that be worth it? If all this did was allow you to compound your small account into something meaningful like I did, would that be worth it? I've got some bonuses for the System Building Masterclass version 2.0 launch. So new for this is the E-mini daily system. Now, I traded the system in 2011. It was the first triple-digit return year I ever had. It's a daily chart pattern system based around market hours edge. We've got the earning growth momentum system, and this is a fantastic new system. It's a derivative of our standard momentum system for those who've already seen the System Building Masterclass. But instead of using a technical price ranking methodology, we're using a fundamental price ranking methodology. And it turns out that earnings growth has a 0.92 correlation with upward price movement. So if a company is growing its earnings quickly, there's a very, very strong probability that the price is going to go up. So what we're doing is ranking our stocks by that and buying the stocks that are growing the fastest. Also new for the System Building Masterclass version 2.0 is the NR7 daily chart stock trading system. This is an excellent and consistent edge, very simple execution, simple targets. Anyone can do this one. We have full rules and breakdown from an expert quant trader who's traded this for years. We also have the 15-minute FX European pre-market system, and this is my own system for trading from the hour before the European market open. So it only trades for 2 hours a day on 15-minute charts. It's 100% mechanical. It is challenging to execute. You need to be good. But the upside is that we have black and white objective rules, and this is suitable for automation. Also new for version 2.0, we have my 3 best guesses for long-term systems for capital appreciation over the next couple of decades. And these are the systems that, if I was a 21-year-old guy starting out and I wanted to put some money into something that would compound incredibly in the long term, this is what I would personally do. Free with your membership now is a lifetime access to my Practical Trading Psychology video course, which is $199 value, and it's my exact pre-market routine to get into optimal flow state for trading. It teaches you about dealing with drawdowns and the unpleasant feelings that arise from trading. Now, the difference between this and other courses is that there's many books that talk about trading psychology problems, and they just list all these problems and mistakes that you're going to make. But this one actually offers practical solutions. Also, free with the System Building Masterclass version 2.0 is everyone who buys the course gets 4 15-minute mini consults with me over Skype, and that's $250 value. Now, you will encounter challenges and hurdles while you're building the system. Now, very often, a quick chat with me can save you days or weeks of blind alleys or wasted effort, or perhaps sometimes I can make pertinent suggestions that you wouldn't have thought of yourself. So the way it works is I have an automated calendar. You just choose something anytime you need help, and we jump on Skype together, and you get 4 little 15-minute sessions to help you overcome the sticking points. Will this work for you? Now, if you go through the material and you can't build a trading system that makes money, here's my guarantee. So I'm going to spend up to 3 hours of my personal time with you, trying to set you straight and help you towards the goal. If, after that, you still cannot build and execute a positive expectancy trading system, I'll refund you in full. No questions asked. As long as you do the work, you're going to get the result. I'll give you your money back. Now, I'm sure you would agree that I could easily charge thousands of dollars for this course. Every single time we've added new content to the course in the past, I've raised the price. But for you to celebrate the revised and improved System Building Masterclass version 2.0, I'm going to leave the price unchanged. Lifetime access is just $599. Now, this is the cheapest this will ever be. And you get the benefit of unlimited future upgrades. Also, you get a ticket to participate in my special live event, Backtesting Without Programming Skill, on October 31, and the full recording. If you miss it, you just get the recording. So right now, I'd like you to click the link below to buy the System Building Masterclass. If all this did was finally let you get some financial reward for the thousands of hours you've spent learning this stuff, would that be worth it? If all this did was cut your trading day down to 20 minutes a day, would that be worth it? If all this did was let you stop using other people's setups and systems and settle down with one system, stick with it for years, would that be worth it? Before we go, I'd like you to imagine how life is going to change a year from now. After building your own trading system, you're going to have a year of totally professional trading under your belt. You won't care what the market does tomorrow. Your total focus is going to be on trading correctly. You're going to be calmer. You're going to be happier. You're going to be doing a fraction of the work, taking a fraction of the time, and you're going to be making way more money. Now, this life is sustainable, and it is for you, and I really think you should buy it now at the URL you can see. Thank you very much for your time today. I really think this is a fantastic course. I really wish it was available for me when I was learning. It's priced at an amazing launch price, and you should buy it.
I really hope you've enjoyed the presentation today, and I really hope that you've got a lot of value and learnt a lot out of what I've shown. Now, it's at this time that I'd really like to invite you to just buy the System Building Masterclass. I think it's an amazing product. I think it's really going to help you, and I think it's probably going to be the best thing you can do for your trading results right now. Now, logically, there's only three things you can do at this point. There's only three. Thing number one is you can just keep going the way that you're going now. You can say, okay, that's a bunch of interesting information. I've learned a lot. I'll take that on board, and then do nothing with it. And, in 6 months, you'll still be in exactly the same spot that you are now. Thing two is you can just go and keep trying to YouTube a bunch of stuff, try and read a bunch of blogs. I think we all know that because you've already been doing that for years, that if you do that for another 6 months or another year, another 2 years, you're still going to be stuck in exactly the same spot that you are now. What I'm suggesting that you do right now is click the button below and buy the System Building Masterclass and use it to either take one of my systems and modify it for your own purposes, take one of my systems or the other systems in the library of trading rules and just use it as is, or buy the System Building Masterclass and use it to test your own systems or build a new trading system from scratch. Because ultimately, this is the only way forward for trading success, is to trade with a system. And I believe that the System Building Masterclass will take you from where you are now to exactly where you want to go. I believe it's stunning value. We're adding to it all the time. The bonuses that we're throwing in today are really excellent. They're going to help you get much faster results than normal. If you're a person that likes to take advantage of a good deal, this is a wonderful deal. And when I was starting out trading, I really wish that I had it. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much for your time.
So, thank you very much for your time today. I've really enjoyed. Thank you very much for your time today. I've really enjoyed sharing this knowledge with you. Thanks again.